What if YouTube could become the most consistent lead source for your business without eating up your week? A lot of business owners assume YouTube means hours of filming, editing, and trying to go viral. But what if that's exactly why it's not working for you? So, this week on Profit with a Plan, we're talking about how business owners can use YouTube as a lead generation system, not just another content platform to keep the feed. My guest, Jerry, shows exactly why most YouTube advice is built for creators and not entrepreneurs, how to stop getting buried by the algorithm, and what it really takes to grow a channel that brings in leads in as little as 90 minutes. If you have been looking for a smarter way to build visibility, authority, and a pipeline of qualified prospects, this conversation is one you don't want to miss. Hey, entrepreneurs, are you working too hard for too little profit? Well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, where we help business owners grow smarter, increase some profitability, and build a business that's worth more, whether you keep it or sell it. I'm Marcia Reiner, business growth strategist and the profit booster behind Infinite Profit. Each week, I bring you practical strategies, expert insights, and real-world steps to help you grow revenue, improve margins, and build a stronger business. Today's episode is brought to you by Infinite Profit, where we help you turn strategy into profitable growth. And before we jump in, I have something super special for you. If revenue is plateaued or your marketing might not be producing the return it should get, go get your Profit Booster Growth Map. In just a couple minutes, it helps you identify where to bring in more qualified clients and where your profit leaks may be costing you money. So get yours now at profitbooster.biz. And by the way, there's no sales call required to get it. Now, let's get into today's conversation. My guest today is Jerry Potter, a YouTube lead generation strategist who helps online entrepreneurs to turn their expertise into steady streams of qualified leads without spending hours of creating content. For years, people have been asking Jerry how he was able to get so much done in his business. And like many business owners, he thought it came down to better productivity and time management. But later, he discovered the real difference was leverage. Instead of chasing more tasks, more posts, or more complicated marketing systems, Jerry built a high leverage asset that keeps working for him, starting with lead generation using YouTube channel. Now he teaches entrepreneurs how to grow a YouTube channel that actually brings in leads and opportunities in as little as 90 minutes a week. Jerry, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast. I'm excited to have you on today.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about this. I think that there's a lot of bad advice out there about YouTube, especially for business owners. And it's why so many of them end up getting burnt out before they can actually cross into that wonderful land of lead generation where it's like, okay, this is why I'm doing this now. So I love diving into this.
You hit it spot on. There is so much advice out there, and even more so is adding, and we're being bombarded by messages all the time that say, oh, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. But it's like, gosh, even getting into chat lately, like I'll ask it to give me a task and it'll send me down a rabbit hole. And an
Oh,
hour or two later, I'm like, dude, that's not what I asked for.
yeah.
And so having that expert that understands how to really make it work for you instead of just adding more weight to you is super exciting.
Yeah, and YouTube is just an incredible opportunity now. I mean, we've seen some of these other platforms get eroded by AI. Blogging is obviously nothing like it was three,
Mm.
4 years ago. But YouTube, a few things are going on. First of all, YouTube is promoting smaller channels more than it ever has before. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart, but basically the AI algorithm now understands what a video is about and how good it is. So they're not paying attention as much to channel history, where it's like, well, we're not going to show your videos to anybody until you've proven, you're serious about this. That used to be the case.
Right.
People go to YouTube for answers they can't get from ChatGPT. Plus, AI tools are citing YouTube and sending people to YouTube like it's one of the top cited websites for information. And so I'm getting thousands of views a month from ChatGPT. And this has always been true. YouTube is where people go to solve their problems. And so you get people that are bottom of funnel that are closer to, being ready to invest money in
Exactly.
solving their problem.
Exactly, because they're actually looking for a solution. And so YouTube comes up and says, oh, how to X, right?
Hmm.
And if they're looking for that, like you said, they're it closer to making that decision. And therefore, they're trying to narrow it down. And oftentimes, and I think we spoke about this just before going live, they can see the exact start to finish step and they still can't execute on it, so that they're going to be, oh man, I feel like I'm missing something. What did I do? Maybe Jerry's the guy I need to talk to get it done properly, right? And they're more apt to go pull the trigger and buy something.
YouTube is incredible for building trust in that way. Especially if we compare it to video on some of the other platforms now, because, you can put videos on LinkedIn and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and you can reach new people. Like that's one thing that's changed in the last 5 years is these vertical short form videos are designed to reach strangers. But
Hmm.
the problem is, even if you're doing well on, let's say, Instagram, if you're putting up 15-second videos or 65-second videos, think about how long it would take for someone to watch 30 of those, for example. It might take months and months. And by the time they saw the second one, they don't remember you from the first one anymore, right? Even if it was an hour later. But on YouTube, somebody can find you. Maybe they watch two, three, four videos all at once, which is a very common YouTube pattern. And all of a sudden, they spent 30 minutes watching you the first day they found you. The know, like, and trust from that is like having a coffee meeting with somebody for 30 minutes or them seeing you give your best presentation on stage for 30 minutes. And so it's just one of those things now where when people use YouTube for lead generation, they get on the sales call. It's more like, which plan should I pick as opposed to convince me to hire you? And so that is why, for years now, I've been able to have somebody find me on YouTube and start working with me or buy a product that's $1,000 or more that same day. And it when it first started happening, it blew my mind. It's like, because we'll ask, like, where did you hear about Harry Potter? I was searching for such and such on YouTube earlier today. Then I joined your email list. Then I got this offer, and now here I am. And
Wow.
that is what's just makes it so much more powerful than almost anything out there.
And that's, I think, the magic you just gently slipped in, right? YouTube can be a funnel. YouTube can be a lead generating system, not just video binging. And I think if we take it back one step from your previous comment, if I'm on Instagram and they're watching a couple of videos or one video, my lead to, my call to action would be, hey, go find more on YouTube. And then I'm like directing it from there, taking them off platform, but directing them from there over to YouTube where they can start to binge watch and then get signed up and whatever, right? So it's a fantastic tool that can really, really leverage. So I like that you dropped the little breadcrumb in there.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't, friction is friction, right? For anyone we're trying to send anywhere. So if you can get them on YouTube without having to send them there from Instagram,
Of
even
course.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Shorter path is always good, but yeah. So let's talk about this then. So your claim to fame is that you can, get me onto YouTube without spending hours and hours and days and weeks and like, oh, and there's got to be a secret because 90 minutes a week is very little amount of time to produce quality or a lot of videos that need to be on there. How do you
Yeah.
do that?
Please bring the skepticism because you should be skeptical of anyone who makes a claim like this. In fact, when I first hypothesized, could this be done in, around 90 minutes a week? I was like, oh, let's see. But the truth is, I'd been telling other entrepreneur friends, like, you got to get on YouTube. And the answer I would constantly hear is, oh, I know, not yet, next year. Then
When
it
I
became
lose
the
some
following
weight.
the following January, the January after that, and all of a sudden 5 years are passed, and they're like, "Gosh, I wish I'd started on YouTube 5 years ago." And so I
Exactly.
started asking them, "What if you could do it in 4 hours a week?" Well, I don't know, 3 hours a week. And when I finally started saying 90 minutes, people leaned in and they said, "Tell me more." And this is
Exactly.
recent, right? Like this is now with our modern technology makes editing easier. AI obviously can help, all these different things. But the main key is to only focus on the YouTube tasks that have the highest ROE or return on effort. So I talk a lot about return on effort. It's basically that's the way I refer to leverage. You want to do things that are going to benefit you over and over again. Like that's leverage, that's return on effort. And so
I love it.
when it comes to YouTube, most of the YouTube advice out there is for influencers or creators, people that are trying to make money selling other people's stuff to their audience, right? The influencer industry is expected to surpass $1 billion soon. It's insane. So obviously, most of the content is geared toward them. But if you're trying to be an influencer or a creator, and then you make your money from people sponsoring your channel or you promoting their products as an affiliate or anything like that, you got more time. As business owners, we already have a job, right? We're already serving our clients. And so we can't do it that way. And so when you follow that advice that promotes all of the best practices in the world, you end up burning out because you're trying to do everything perfect. So the big shift is, okay, well, what if I only have a little bit of time? What would I do? And when I started my YouTube channel, I had a full-time job. I was the chief marketing officer and creative director at an agency. My wife worked evenings and I had 2 kids under 8. And so basically I was single dad every night. So it was pick up the kids at 2 different schools, dinner, prep, feed them, clean up, bath time, all of it. So,
Yeah.
and I wasn't so excited about YouTube at the time that I was like, I'm going to spend all my weekends doing this. I'm going to stay up all night. I'm not one of those 6-hour a night people. I got to get my
Me
8
neither.
hours. Yeah. So that wasn't an option. And I remember people bragging like, oh yeah, I spent at least 19 hours editing every single video. And I was like, oh, cool, good for you. Can't do that. So from the beginning, it was like, what can I do? And so when we think about return on effort, first of all, if you're limited on time, ignore everything on YouTube except for the traditional long form video. And that's basically a widescreen video like
Okay.
that would be 3 minutes or longer. Shorts can be up to 3 minutes now. So ignore live streams, ignore shorts, ignore memberships, all these other things that YouTube gives us, because that's the content that introduces people to you. It gets people knowing, liking, and trusting you, like we talked about. They can spend 30 minutes with you the day they find you. And most importantly, that's the content that lives on for years and years and years. And this is the part I didn't understand at the beginning, but I don't think enough people understand now, is when you publish a video on YouTube, you're going to get some views from it, hopefully, and get some leads from it. And then the next week you publish another video, but the previous one's going to keep getting views and leads. And so it compounds on each other. And so just to put this into context, the first year I was on YouTube, I started mid-August, so it was about 4.5 months, and I got 1,150 views in that time. That's when people quit, right? You're like, oh, that was a lot of work. Yeah, for that many views. But then the following year, I got 300,000 views. The year after that, 1.2 million, and the year after that, 2 million views. So it compounds like nothing else. And then even to shrink that context, not to throw too many numbers out there, but my first 6 months, as it started to grow, I got 4,000 views, a little better than the 1,000. But in my second 6 months, I got 86,000 views. So
it starts to exponentially stack on itself, because you probably had, when you had your first 1,000 viewers, you probably only had a few videos, right? And then as you start to build that library, you get more people viewing, right?
Exactly. Well, it wasn't a few videos because it was 4.5 months in. So publishing one long form video a week, it was 20-ish videos at that point. But again, not worth it in my mind to, keep going in that manner. So that's something you got to know up front. Like you got, like I always tell people, if you're not willing to publish one video a week for at least 6 weeks, then don't start, because you're going to get discouraged.
So the reality in this is it's not an overnight sensation. You're not going to be a Justin Bieber of your industry and overnight and become a star. It's going to take some time and effort to be doing it. So, but for a long play, it sounds really, really enticing.
It's a lot like investing in your health. Like, so if you think about eating better or exercise, like, oh my gosh, ice cream is so much better today, no matter what's going to happen down the line, right? And
Right.
YouTube is the same way. And so I just like to prepare people so that they are ready for it. Because the early day, I almost quit. And I was a stubborn entrepreneur. And I'm like, I'm going to keep going. Like I committed to a year, one video a week for a year. I can do that. And that is why it paid off.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So now, the challenge that I see, right, is that yes, I do my one video a week for a year. I commit to that. I'm all in there. I believe I'm delivering really good information on here. But in reality, just because you build it doesn't mean people are going to come.
No.
So
Yeah.
how do you get the people to come? Is it
Yeah.
the
Well,
content or is it the algorithm game?
it's a little bit of both. So I mentioned earlier how YouTube is now recommending smaller channels more than ever before. And then in fact, I heard this from somebody at YouTube and I was like, liar. And then I went and tested it. If you go to
Liar, I'm going to
YouTube's
call you out.
Seriously, if you go to YouTube's homepage at any given time and you just scroll, like not in the very top, but if you scroll down a little bit, you are probably going to see a video from a small channel with very few views. And I've tested this dozens of times now, where it'll be a channel that, a video was published 4 days ago. They have 12 subscribers and it has 15 views. But somehow YouTube thought I might like this video. And so, how do we get to be those videos? The biggest thing is you have to let YouTube understand what you're all about. And this is where we go wrong as entrepreneurs.
Mm.
We tend to have all of these ways that we love to help people. We have all of these talents, all of these things. And so we start making helpful videos. And it doesn't matter how good the quality of the video is if YouTube cannot match you up with a viewer. So let's say that you are making videos helping people with their finances. And so you make a video about, hey, here's how you organize your checking account. And then the next one, you make a video about here's how you prep your taxes. And then next video, you make a video about here's how you help your kids by giving them allowance, for example. These are all financial topics, right? But
Right.
one of them is for somebody thinking about their, day-to-day checking. Another one's for somebody thinking about taxes. And the other one is for a parent thinking about teaching, money to their kids. So even though it all feels the same, it's not. So what I like to do, I call it the channel filter, not a fancy name, but essentially you need to decide, one, who are your videos for? Okay. And the more specific you can be, the better. So I had another client who I just started working with, and she was helping people with interior design for their homes, but she had videos for real estate agents trying to sell houses. She had videos for Airbnb owners trying to make really nice looking places so their photos would look good on, on Airbnb's website. And then she had videos for homeowners. That's 3 different audiences, even if it's the same topic. So
Got it. So that
yeah,
niche of don't spray with, don't pray and spray and
yeah.
pray, whatever, but to really niche down into who your audience is for that specific channel,
The more
right?
specific you can be, the faster YouTube is going to learn and understand. That's the goal there.
Got
Okay.
it.
So that's the first part. Who's it for? The second part is answer the question, what are they chasing? What is your viewer's dream outcome? And then the third part is, what are they escaping? So the way this works out is it's like who you're talking to, what are you trying to help them achieve? What do they really want? And then what do they want to avoid? And so for
Got it.
my
Okay.
main YouTube channel, which is all about helping you grow a channel in 90 minutes a week, it is for online entrepreneurs. It is helping them grow a lead generating YouTube channel. And then it is without taking all of their time. So
Love it.
that's it.
Simple formula for doing
Yeah.
it. But I think where I keep landing and what the big aha here is that most of us think, oh, we can help everybody. And if we go back to that interior designer example, we think we're giving the right content, but
Yeah.
we're giving it to 3 different people. And so we really need to niche that down.
Yeah. And if you're a heart-centered entrepreneur, it's even harder because you're like, oh, well, the communication skills I teach are great for parents with kids and employees with their boss and senior citizens talking to their caretakers. Like it's too much. So we want to be narrow. And then that becomes your filter. And I developed this actually after working with a couple of clients that I would go and I'd look at their YouTube channel and I'm like, well, why'd you make this video? They're like, oh, it was a podcast. I wanted to be on their show, so I agreed to have them on my show. Or, oh, somebody asked me about that in my book club, so I just thought it'd be a fun video to make, you know. And they weren't completely off topic. It wasn't like a business channel that all of a sudden was talking about horseback riding. But if it doesn't fit the filter, you can't put it on the channel.
Hey, quick pause here. If you've ever wondered what your next smartest move should be to grow your business, well, I've built something for you. It's called the Profit Booster Growth Map. It takes only about 2 minutes, it's totally free, and it shows you exactly where you're leaving money on the table and what to fix first. Go grab it for free at profitbooster.biz/growth map. Then come right back to the episode. Got it. And so if you are really interested in more than one topic and you think you have the ability to do more than one topic, then you have two channels, right? I mean, that's really where it's going to go. So if I happen to be, a business owner who loves Latin dancing, right, which I do, and I have pictures of me dancing and those that I like and the moves that I like, then I want to have a second channel for that, not put it on the same channel.
Yes, but I strongly recommend against trying to run two channels. It is just an overwhelming thing. Get one going.
Your 90 minutes become 5 hours.
Right. Get one working and then figure out what that next piece is going to be for you. Because otherwise, I actually just did start a second channel and I'm already running into this and I know what I'm doing and I know how to do it, quickly.
Gosh.
But the only thing harder than running two channels would be trying to start two channels at the same time. So get one going, get your systems in place, and then maybe consider the other one. And then the great news about this is if you have an existing channel, you can retrain the algorithm.
Good.
And so a few years ago, I had this channel, and my channel originally was all about helping people grow on social media. So I had tutorials about Facebook, Instagram. I did some Snapchat tutorials back in the day, LinkedIn, all of it. But I'd started helping my private clients with podcasts. And it was because I developed this system where you could have a podcast and then because, video podcasts were on the rise and then turn that into all of your social media content. And I was like, okay, I think I want to teach this, but nobody knew me for podcasting other than this handful of clients. There were no blog posts. There was no speaking gigs. There were no video. There was nothing. I had zero authority. So I went and I published 10 videos in a row on my YouTube channel, all about how an entrepreneur can start a lead generating podcast. And within 30 to 60 days, when people would sign up for the podcasting program I started offering, where'd you hear about Jerry Potter? A lot of them started saying, I searched for how to start a podcast on YouTube. And as you can imagine, that's a competitive keyword. But because YouTube all of a sudden went, oh, okay, he's helping people, he's helping business owners with podcasts, it immediately started, promoting me for that. And that's how quickly it can happen once it understands your channel. And so, I'd just like to emphasize, you can train YouTube or you can retrain YouTube.
So how long does it take to train the YouTube algorithm to know that what you're doing? Is it just having enough content and making sure that all the boxes are checked inside of the YouTube channel and making sure that you've got all that lined in and dialed up so YouTube can recognize you? Or is there some sort of a game you have to play with YouTube to get it to recognize you?
I wish I could say it's this exact number, but it absolutely isn't because there's just, there are too many variables, right? If you are going into a crowded space, it's going to take longer.
Sure.
I have a client that I worked with. And so when we start this, I did 10 for the podcasting, but when we start this, I say, let's make 8 videos in a row. I call them your magnetic 8. And they're all designed to help that same person with that same problem. So none of my videos were about how to market or grow a podcast. It was just about, picking out a microphone, how to pick out a name, how to record, how to publish, how to choose a hosting platform, that kind of stuff. And so that's key is we keep it really, really narrow because we want someone to, if somebody finds one of your videos that we want them to go to your channel and go, where's this channel been all my life? Oh my gosh, I need to watch all of these right away.
The Netflix play.
Exactly. But I had a client who, if it's a brand new channel, it's going to take longer as well. But I had a client who she teaches French to Swedish women in their 40s. Okay. So, if you want to put the channel filter on, I help women in their 40s learn travel French, I think she called it, without having to learn the entire language, because these are just women who live in Sweden that wanted to travel to France and be able to talk to people. And so her Magnetic 8, even just a few videos in, she was starting to get 300 views on some of her videos. So it figured it out really quick. Now, I imagine there's not a lot of channels teaching French to Swedish women. So she sort of had that advantage
Over 40.
coming in there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there's a lot of different variables, but the key is to get started. And even if during your 8, they don't start popping off, it doesn't matter. Those videos still serve as the foundation of the future of your channel, because once somebody does find you, then those are the videos that are, we design them specifically to answer their most burning questions. What's keeping them up at night? What are they worried they got wrong? What are they worried they won't get right? Those type of things, because that's the stuff they click on, because there's personal urgency built in.
Now, do you highlight those as these are the ones that you start into? Because I know you can have like you can section out YouTube into these videos, these videos, shorts, chapters, longs, whatever
Yeah.
topics.
It depends on how they did for you, is usually how I advise people on this. Some people have never made a video before, and they're publishing their Magnetic 8, and it might be that they had to sort of get their first videos out of their system, and they may not want to promote those. And that's okay. We all have to start with our first videos. Everybody
Yes, they can be horrific. I remember
Exactly.
I remember my first video because I started this podcast 7+ years ago. Oh my gosh, 7 years ago. And my first couple of videos were like, hey, hi there, right? My girlfriend goes, who the F is that, right? And it's like,
Yes.
okay, well, that is bad. So yeah, it does, you do have a learning curve. I've got a client that's really flat and we're trying to get him to be more emotional and exciting in his videos.
Mm.
But it's like he has to knock out 20 or 30 videos, sometimes some people do, before they start to get their personality going.
Yeah, and that's why you have to go through those steps.
Yeah.
But the good news is, if the content is fitting your filter, YouTube is starting to learn about you and your channel. So but to answer your question, if the videos are good and they bring you leads, then yeah, I would put them in the first row on my channel. So if somebody visits my channel, they go, oh my gosh, these are my questions, right? That feeling of, where's this channel been all my life? That's what we want.
Yeah. I love this. This is really good information about how you do the videos for YouTube. But what I hear out there, and I don't know how much weight really comes, is, oh, you got to have the SEO, you got to have the thumbnail that has you going, wow, look at this, some goofy pose and some serious headline. Is that really a drawing nature, or is that just somebody who wants to sell you their whatever?
SEO still matters, but like 90% less than it did a few years
Mm.
ago. Essentially, the way I like to explain it is, YouTube's algorithm learned synonyms. So it used to be that if you made a video called how to make more money in your business, or you made a video called how to generate more money in your business, those were almost like two different videos. And so if somebody typed in how to generate more money in your business, it's a weird phrase now that I'm saying it out loud, but in that scenario, your video might be more likely to come up. But now that's the same title. And so that's where it doesn't matter anywhere near like it did. So
Okay.
that's the good news. Like, I mean, people used to spend hours just doing keyword research for a single video. Now you should still use
Right.
keywords, use the words your people are using, but you don't have to like rest on that. That being
Okay.
said, titles and thumbnails are absolutely important. The way the cycle goes, I started a brand new channel last month as an experiment, and I think I'm going to run with it. But I was like, I just want to prove that YouTube will promote videos from a small channel. And I was
Mm.
like, maybe it'll take a week, maybe it'll take two. I don't know. We'll see. So I kicked off this channel at 7 a.m. on a Wednesday, and I put up 3 videos to start. I put up 3 videos, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. Then I kind of checked back in, like, oh, that'd be pretty cool if it happened in the first day, but it probably won't. Well, sure enough, 14 hours later, that video had gotten 100 impressions and it got its first view the same day. I didn't tell anybody about this channel because the algorithm, saw the title, the description, it knows what you say, it knows what's on screen, and it decided to try and match that up with a viewer, and it did. And so that's the beautiful thing about this, is when you get this right, it can happen really, really quickly. So
Okay.
so it is this, opportunity right now. Now, that being said, a lot of people say, oh, don't ever send people to your YouTube channel. You'll mess up the algorithm. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, I've heard
Okay.
everything when it comes
Okay.
to this.
Well, let's debunk that. Okay.
Okay, good.
If you send the right people to your channel, it does not hurt. It helps because because everybody on YouTube pretty much is logged into their account. So let's say you sent 10 people there that all watched the video and they watched, maybe not all of it, but like 60% of it. Then YouTube looks at those 10 people and goes, okay, what do these 10 people have in common? Cool. All right. Let's find more people like that and suggest this video to them. So back to your question about what's important, because this is maybe the biggest takeaway here. If first, YouTube is going to suggest your video to people. Those are called impressions. I told you that brand new channel, 100 impressions by the end of the first day. So that means it showed up somewhere on YouTube. Then your title and thumbnail are what get people to click. And if they click and then they watch a decent amount of it, then YouTube will start recommending it to more people. If nobody clicks, the impressions die. If people click and nobody watches more than 25 seconds of a 5-minute or 10-minute video, then YouTube will stop recommending it. And so they are important.
Okay. And you just said something that really hit an aha for me.
Yeah.
So, or maybe not. So if I like long-term content, such as podcast videos, that go 30 plus minutes, and the short-term attention span of most people is, 25 seconds, right? These are going to look bad because they don't get that longer play. So is it in my best advantage to call my long-term videos 5-10 minute videos versus 30-minute to an hour videos?
It all comes down to the right person clicking on the right video, right? That's all YouTube is trying to do.
Sure.
And so to answer your question, some people are going to drop off. Like my most successful videos lose a third of the people at least in the first 30 seconds. Because sometimes it's just not right, or they didn't like the color of my wall or my face, or whatever. Like sometimes people just bail, and that's okay, and that's part of it. If you've never looked at a YouTube retention graphic, it can be one of the most depressing things in the world if you don't know what you're looking at, right? Because it's basically like, look at all the people walking out of the auditorium while you're on stage. So,
oh my God,
yeah,
but
but it's normal.
Me.
Like, yeah, but it's normal. So to answer your question. On new channels, I often recommend starting with shorter videos. Not only are they easier to make, and by shorter, I'm talking, 4 to 7 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. I'm not talking about, YouTube shorts. Right. And the reason for that is because if somebody doesn't know who you are, or you don't have a lot of social proofs, let's say you've got 80 subscribers or 12 subscribers or, 211 subscribers, whatever it is. But your video seems to match up with what they're interested in, and it's 5 minutes, they're much more likely to click on that versus if it's an hour. And so that's where I kind of recommend easier to make, and somebody's more likely to take a chance on them in the beginning. That being said, I know people that have started by publishing hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, like in-depth trainings, and they've done really well. So there's no universal
because of the
rule
content or whatever. They brought the right
Exactly.
person in, that right person clicked, they got in there, and then they got hooked, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
that's
And so if
the
you are
magic
sending
of it.
external people to your videos, like if you're going to email your list or you're going to tell people about on LinkedIn, I always like to say, tell them exactly what they're going to get. So the right person can't wait to click and the wrong person doesn't click. Like you don't want a bunch of people dropping out. And then I usually will tell them, like in my emails, how long the video is. Go watch this video. It's 9 minutes. Sometimes I'll say, if you watch it 2x, it's only 4.5. And here's what you're going to get from it, because I don't want somebody to click it and go, 9 minutes. I was hoping this was a 1-minute video.
Got it. Okay. These are just, wow. And so back to your 90-minute claim.
Yes.
I'm starting to sweat here because there's a lot of moving factors when it comes to putting the videos out and understanding. But that's kind of front loaded in your setup, in your design, or your SOP that you would do for doing your videos. But actually recording a video and producing it and getting it uploaded once a week for 90 minutes is easy peasy. But the front end setup might take you a little longer, correct?
Yeah, I have a program where I help people I call it the YT90 system, where they implement it in their business. And I've even designed the program to only take 90 minutes a week as you implement. And the reason for that is a couple. One, YouTube is not a place for perfection. And I know that makes some people uncomfortable, but you've got to let go of that. Okay. My father-in-law is a structural engineer for Boeing, the airplane manufacturer. Airplane manufacturing is a place for perfection. Please get that
Perfection,
right, right?
please.
Yes. YouTube is not. Let it go. There is no most perfect channel award that's ever been given out, right? So, and I know that's hard for people, but it's so important as you're getting started. But the 90 minutes a week, or even just doing things in as little time as possible, I'll give you the key things to focus on because they're going to have that highest return on effort. Okay. Yes, in the beginning, you're going to have to get a camera and film, but I filmed my first 25 videos in front of a window with my phone. I always tell people, like,
Perfect.
what gear do I need? What gear do I need? I'm like, publish 5 videos first, then think about some other gear because you've already got your phone. Um, so what we put our effort in, definitely your topics, right? You want to make topics that are interesting to people, and your titles and your thumbnails. They don't have to be amazing. AI can help with this, but have good, strong topics, titles, and thumbnails. Then put the effort into your script, or not even your script. I don't recommend word for word, but at least your outline. Here's what I'm going to talk about in what order. And the key is you need to present things in a way that people want to keep watching, right? So if you give away the best tip in the first 30 seconds, like the video says, I'm going to give you one tip that'll change your life, and you give it away in the first 30 seconds and you don't open a new loop, then, people are gone. This is hard for people. I actually built an app for my members to help them write their scripts so that they didn't have to
Nice.
think about that. But you can also ask ChatGPT or Claude to do that as well. So, those are the main things to put your effort into. Don't put your effort into the best lighting, the best sound, the best shot. You need decent stuff, right? But as long as people can see and hear you, that's what happened. That's what matters. There's a woman has a channel. Her name is Maggie, and she has over 200,000 subscribers. And the videos that first blew up her channel are just her walking through a park, like holding up her phone and talking to it. I don't know for sure, but I don't think she had any makeup on. There's no graphics, there's no music, there's nothing. That's it. If your script, if your information is valuable, fancy editing just doesn't matter. There's another woman, Suki Baxter, who has a channel that has, I think she's approaching 600,000 or 700,000 subscribers, and some
Wow.
of her videos are just her in front of a plain wall with a window for light. Like she just sits in front of this plain gray wall. That's tough to say, and has like 100,000, 200,000 views on these videos. So let go of that. That is not worth putting your time into. And I think for a lot of us, we use the gear and the setup
Is
to
a crutch.
procrastinate to protect our self-esteem. And you got to get yourself out there. I heard somebody say last week, they said, don't worry if you put out a bad video, nobody will see it. So if that's comforting, you can know that as
Yeah,
well.
exactly, exactly. And you know what? I think authenticity is what people want, right? That's why I don't cut or chop or retake and, do things here. But yeah, I think they want that. They want what sounds real and they want to know who you are. And if you show up without, even some movie stars these days are showing up without makeup and hair and all that kind of stuff, and people are leaning in going, "Wow, you're human." You're
Yeah, and
real.
yeah, authenticity's become sort of a cliche the last few years, but it really is so important. And I think people are tired of swiping through these fast-paced, TikToks and shorts and reels where it's just a new graphic every 1 second, and then you realize 15 seconds later there was no value there.
Hmm.
And they want to reconnect with humans. More and more people are, their only coworker now is talking to Chat GPT, and they're like, oh, cool, here's a human. Nothing wrong with talking to Chat
Yeah.
GPT. I'm in there every single day. But yes, I think people are craving that authentic human connection now more because of AI.
I love it. Wow. Jerry, this is so good. And I know we can go on and on and on. And I have so many questions. And I lean into this because I think that, the one thing about YouTube that I really value is that it's there forever.
Hmm.
It goes up and it's there, and someone can find you months, years later, and it's still up there unless you take it down or you get, shut down. But I think the content is like LinkedIn. You put a post on LinkedIn, and if it's not, yeah, I mean, it's gone in the feed within seconds. Sometimes I can't even find my own thing that I just posted, right? So if I can't find it, how is somebody else going to find my stuff? And that's why I'm thinking that this YouTube, and it's not new, but using YouTube as a real true partner in getting your visibility out there so people can find you is equally as strong of a tool as your website, if not even more.
Yeah.
And knowing that Google owns YouTube and Google is still, to this moment, the #1 search engine out there. I mean, I know the AIs are coming in close, but even like you said, AIs are even recommending YouTube channels. So this is a platform you should strongly consider using. And with that being said, where can listeners find out more about you? How can they do this in less time and effort and see the success that you and your clients are seeing?
So if you're going to invest time in YouTube, the first thing I like to say is decide it's important or decide it's not. And if it's important, invest the time, maybe a little money, whatever you need for it to be successful. Because otherwise, it'll just drive you crazy. And the other thing I like to say is, commit to 6 months. But as overwhelmed entrepreneurs, business owners, it's really hard to do this. And that's why the whole YT90 system is about getting started so you can build it as a side hustle, because you're not going to see the benefits right away, but you can start seeing it compound over time. So I put together a resource. It's called the YT90 Roadmap, and it'll walk through the most important things to focus on, a little bit of what we talked about today, but more so that you aren't wasting time on the wrong things. And then it also has a little assessment you can do where you can really understand, is YouTube going to work for my business to be a lead generator, or is it going to be a total time suck? Because it's not for everybody. And so you can get that at YT90roadmap.com.
Love it. Ah, so good and so helpful. And there's so many different ideas. And I love how you started out saying, don't listen to everybody on YouTube because they might not be doing what's the right thing. And you've just given us the right tools to focus on. And I think that's the clarity that is missing by just randomly going out and trying to pull it off yourself. So listeners,
Yep.
go take Jerry up on his offer and get that assessment and that tool. All right. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you're walking away with some practical ideas that you can put to work right now to grow a more profitable and valuable business. Gosh, I know I'm going to go, as soon as we get off this, I'm going to go try Jerry's assessment because YouTube, I mean, I even use it for this podcast and I know it's not giving me what I need. So I need the tweaks done. All right, before you go, if you want a clearer path to more revenue and stronger profit, go grab your free Profit Booster Growth Map. It quickly shows you how the top opportunities to grow revenue and stop the profit leaks that may be holding your business back. Go get it anytime at profitbooster.biz. And if this episode gave you value, please be sure to subscribe and share it with another business owner who may need to hear it. Well, I'll see you on next week's show with more strategies to help you grow smarter and profit stronger. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.